swords into plowshares. Their swords we turned into mezuzah. So we're fixing it here. We're here in a high-tech zone of Jerusalem. Israel is a powerhouse of technology and innovation. We have common interest. President Pena is a man of economy. He understands all the potential. But when you look around here, this is the product of the free market revolution that we introduced here. And if you came here a few years ago, there was nothing. But there were these hills. These are the hills that 3,000 years ago King David proclaimed Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. The national anthem that we just heard talks about the dream of the people for about 2,000 years to come back to Jerusalem and reestablish Zion, our national home, our sovereignty, our country. And this was seen as an impossible thing. It was impossible. We're tiny people, exiled from our land. Well, many people were exiled from their lands in history. Most of them disappeared. Nearly all of them disappeared. But we refused to disappear. And we had that binding faith and that prayer and that desire to come back to Jerusalem. So Jews around the world in their various diasporas, they said, next year in Jerusalem, next year in Jerusalem. And we came back. First in small numbers, then in greater numbers. Then we had to fight to survive as the diasporas were being erased by those who seek to wipe out the Jewish people. They keep changing, but it's a constant phenomenon. But what happened when we established our capital and our country and our army was that we could fight back. We're not just fighting back for our own values, we're fighting back for the values of civilization against barbarism. But there was, as you pointed out in your great speech yesterday, there is a basic sympathy between our people and the people of Paraguay. And you have to know the history of Paraguay to understand why it's so common. Because you too are small people. You too are beset by great powers. You too suffered the specter of annihilation. We underwent the Holocaust. You underwent a massive massacre. But you didn't lose faith. You didn't disappear. You maintained yourself. And I think that this is this desire both to seize the future, to create this progress, to create the benefits for humanity, which is what you see in this building, is coupled with the understanding that we have a heritage and a commitment to our past and to our future that transcends time. I think the story of Israel, which is represented here by this embassy, is that we have this eternal capital for 3,000 years, and it wasn't the capital of anyone else, and it is the correction of a historical distortion, which is amazing. You recognize the truth here. Jerusalem is Israel's capital. It will always be Israel's capital. It will be the undivided capital of Israel. It will never change. This is a fact, and you recognize it, and we recognize the fact that you speak out and stand up for that because of the common values. I think the story of Israel is a parable for all nations. Because if the Jewish people were able to not merely survive, but to ford the torrential river between annihilation and salvation, to reconstitute our life here, to rebuild our capital, to be a thriving power and a thriving innovator for humanity, this means that there is hope for all nations on the world. And the one nation that we seize with great friendship and great sympathy and great love is Paraguay. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for opening the embassy.
Mr. Prime Minister, it's for me such a privilege to take this decision. I met you the first time you visit Latin America.
Yes, I remember.
And I was impressed with your strength, with your commitment, with your determination. I was very happy to see that during the time that I was Minister of Finance, the government of Paraguay took a very bold decision, a very ambitious decision to open the Paraguayan embassy in Jerusalem. I was very sad a couple of months later when a new administration, driven mostly by revenge, an internal revenge, nothing to do with the people of Israel, decided to move it back. I'm very happy that this is taking place in this very moment that the world is living, where a lot of people talk, but not many people act. So for us, not only saying, but doing is very important, Mr. Prime Minister. And on behalf of all the Paraguayan people, we were with you, we are with you, we will stay with the people of Israel forever. Thank you very much.
Good to see you, friend. Thank you. Let's take a photograph.
Now you need to come to Paraguay.
I'm going to.
I'm sure you can.
I'm going to.